When a family is facing an ALS diagnosis, the world of clinical trials can feel, well, just completely overwhelming. There's so much complex information coming at you. So today, we're going to try to be that guide, to bring some clarity to the whole process so you can figure out the path forward.
And you know what, it comes right down to it. There's a really practical question on everyone's mind. Beyond all the science and the hope, what does it actually mean to be part of a clinical trial? What does it really ask of you and your family? We're going to break that down, starting with the very first hurdle that pretty much everyone encounters.
Right. That first step is eligibility. And honestly, for so many people, this is the most confusing and sometimes frustrating part of the whole journey. So let's demystify it right now.
Okay, this is probably the single most important thing to hear right from the get-go. If you or someone you love doesn't qualify for a particular trial, it is not a judgment. It has nothing to do with you. It's a normal, incredibly common part of the research process, and we're about to see exactly why that is.
So to really get why that is, we kind of have to learn to speak the language of clinical trials. You see, every single study is governed by a very specific set of rules, and they basically fall into two main categories.
Okay, first up, you've got what are called inclusion criteria. The easiest way to think of these is as the must-haves. These are the very specific characteristics that researchers are looking for to make sure they're studying the exact right group of people for the scientific question they're trying to answer. And then, on the flip side, you have the exclusion criteria. These are the cannot-haves. These rules are put in place for really important reasons, mostly to protect participants from any potential harm and to make sure the scientific data they collect is as clean and reliable as it can possibly be. So let's put these side by side for a second, right? Inclusion is what you must have, like a confirmed diagnosis. Exclusion is what you can't have, maybe another medical condition that could interfere with the study. It's this combination of rules, this specific recipe, that defines who can participate in any given trial.
But you know, these aren't just random rules pulled out of thin air. There's a really deep scientific and ethical reason behind every single one, and I think understanding the why is super important.
I mean, it's a fair question, right? Why be so incredibly specific? Why do these strict rules even exist? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Good science absolutely depends on it. It all starts with safety. That's always priority number one. But right after that, these criteria are just essential for making sure the data means something. By creating groups of people who are very similar and reducing other confusing factors, researchers can be much more confident that any changes they see are actually from the treatment they're studying and not from something else. So what does this actually look like in the real world of ALS research? Let's go through some of the most common factors that researchers are looking at.
Okay, first up is time. You'll see this a lot. Many trials are looking for people who are within a pretty specific window, say 12 or 24 months since their first symptoms. And the reason for that is often because they want to see if a treatment can slow down damage while it's still actively happening in those earlier stages.
Next up is breathing. You'll hear the term forced vital capacity, or FVC, which is basically a measure of lung function. Requiring a level above a certain point, like 60%, is crucial for a couple of reasons. First, for participant safety, and second, so they have a solid baseline to accurately measure any changes during the trial.
And of course, there's a whole bunch of other factors that play a huge role. Age limits are often there because of safety data. Some newer trials are really specific, targeting certain genetic mutations. And things like what medications you're already on or your level of mobility are also key considerations, all to protect the integrity of the research.
So let's say you do meet all the criteria. This brings us right back to that original question we started with. Once you're in, what does it actually look like day to day? What's the reality of participating?
Well, it all kicks off with screening. This isn't just a one-and-done thing. It's a multi-step process where the research team carefully confirms that you're eligible through a whole series of reviews and tests. It's a really thorough process, but it's designed that way to make sure the trial is a safe and appropriate fit for you.
Now, once you're officially in, you've got to know participation is a pretty significant commitment. It almost always involves regular travel, frequent clinic visits that can last for hours, and a whole range of tests, from blood work to breathing assessments. It's a very structured process with a ton of monitoring, all designed to gather the best possible data.
And look, while that commitment is very real, so is the potential impact. For so many families, there's a real sense of purpose and empowerment that comes from contributing directly to the future of ALS research. Plus, they often really appreciate the incredible level of expert care and close monitoring they get. All of this information, it's really about helping you do one thing: weigh the commitments against the opportunities. It's about giving you the tools so you can make a truly informed choice, whatever that choice may be for your family.
And this is the balance, right? This is what every family has to weigh. On one side, you've got the real-world challenges, the travel, the time, the procedures. But on the other side, you have this profound opportunity to contribute to science, to get that close monitoring from experts, and to feel a sense of empowerment in the face of this disease.
And please, if you take anything away, hold on to this. The world of research is always changing. It's moving fast. New trials are starting all the time, and their criteria are always different. Not qualifying for one study today absolutely does not mean the door is closed on all future opportunities. You know, at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Whether participation is the right path for you or not, what truly matters is that every family feels like their choices are understood, that they have the information they need, and that they feel respected every single step of the way.
So we want to leave you with that question to think about. Now that you have a clearer picture of how these trials actually work, you can really consider, what is that path? One where you feel informed, supported, and respected truly look like for you and your family?